All right, hey everybody, we are live. It's the Bliss Monkey Online Creativity Club. Today is Monday, September 21st. It's the first day of the second week of our 3-month project. So I will be coming online every day for 3 months for 3 hours. The whole idea is that you get 3 hours of uninterrupted creativity time and you're not alone. So the stream is going. I'm here working. Last week, same image this week, Darth Vader. It's going to take me a couple of months to finish this thing. So hopefully you've got some gear and you've got a project that you'd like to work on. You could be drawing, you could be painting, you could be programming, you could be editing, composing music, planning a yoga class. It doesn't matter what it is. It's every day, 3 hours. Now I've changed the hours. Last week I was doing it in the morning. Oh, my computer's not plugged in. I gotta plug this in. Just 1 second here. I was doing it in the morning from 10 till 12, or 9 to 10 till 1, I think. That's what it was. And some folks mentioned that they would rather have it go in the afternoon. So compromise was struck, 3 till 6. We'll see if this works. I might have to change it a little bit next week, maybe 2 till 5, so I can spend some time with my daughter after school before dinner time, because of course that's super important. So right now I've got this ends at 6, dinner, and then I'm going to be doing some brushwork, painting, and other stuff with my daughter until bedtime. So anyway, that's it. If you have any kids and they want to ask questions about anything, it doesn't matter. Give them a pen, some crayons, an art pad, and I'm super happy to answer questions for kids. I myself grew up in a family of 4 kids, and I was the only artist. So I didn't really have anybody to talk to or ask questions of, and there were no adults around that really, I mean, they cared, but they didn't have an interest. So if you know somebody and they have kids and they like to draw, you can, safely put them in front of the computer and have them just work alongside me. And if your kids have any questions, I'd be super happy to answer anything at all. Of course, adults can ask questions too, but I used to be a kid that needed somebody. If you've got a little person in the house that just wants to talk to another artist or would think it was just cool to have the YouTube guy talk to them, more than happy to answer any and all questions. Okay, so as always, what I do is I sit down and I put this live stream on my Facebook. At the first break, which today is going to be at 4 o'clock for about 5 minutes, we'll take a break. At the first break, I usually put the live stream on some other drawing channel or something like that. I'm still working on how to get this out there into the world. That may work, that may not work. But anyway, we'll see how it goes. So with all that said and done, let's get started. I hope you have everything you need to do some creative stuff today. I'm just going to adjust this a little bit there so we can see the table clearly with a little tiny bit there. All right, cool. Very good. So I'm just going to sit down, put this live stream on Facebook, and then get to work. So I hope you can start getting to work too. Okay, copy. Okay, copy. Okay, And oh, I turned off the wrong YouTube. And oh, I turned off. Let's get some music back on here. Please feel free to leave a comment. It's no problem. I will talk to anybody. Okay, live Bliss Monkeys Online Creativity Club. 3 hours of uninterrupted creativity. Turn off your gadgets and get in here. All right. Posty post. Done. Let's turn all this stuff off and get my artwork up. I got my coffee right here. All right, so I am doing the top part of his head. So that's the top part of his head right there. So I'm getting to work. I hope you are too. We have 3 hours ahead of us, so let's get going. I think the brightness on here needs to be... It's up? Okay. So I try to work on this over the weekend, a little bit. Because, believe it or not, 3 hours a day is not enough. Monday to Friday. I need more time. So I do my best to squeeze it in wherever I can. So this is 3G. G3. Okay, so let's do this. Hello there, whoever's watching. Thank you. So the idea is to turn off your phone. Keep it in another room. Take off your watch. No notifications. It's just you and your art. Doesn't that sound great? You and your art. That sounds fantastic. Yo, hey Karen. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you're doing well. So if you were here last week, glad to be here. Yeah, cool. Me too. That's the idea. So if you guys were here last week, I couldn't really open the window, but this morning I actually went out for a bike ride, like the first time in a month. So I'm gonna open the window. And probably like 50 moths will come in here. If you're watching and you're not from Vancouver or the Vancouver area, we're having a bit of a moth apocalypse right now. A huge explosion in the moth population, and wherever you go, there are moths, and lots of them. Okay. Oh, what's this? I already slipped by responding to your... Oh, it's okay. Secret project. All right. Hand-drawn wireframes. Ideas, sketching, and maybe a mind map. You go, girl. You just got to stay in the zone, you know? You just got to keep where you need to be so that it's smooth. That's it. So, Karen, I kind of... Oh, it's this... Yeah, well, it's a good... Yeah, you got to make it, right? You can't just wait for it. You got to make it. I noticed on the weekend that like some of these streams are getting like 80 views. That's so weird. I don't understand. I mean, I like it, but I don't know where they're coming from. What's that? That's great news. Yeah, I'll take it. I hope one of them is George Lucas because he's going to want this. I will. I will tweet him. Um, but I want to give him, I need to work on it a little bit more. He'll get more excited about it. I put this up on my. We got 3 people in here. Hey, 3 people. Thanks for coming. Um, this is Bliss Monkeys Online Creativity Club. Everybody here is doing something creative, and the idea is that it's an online space. It's a time. It's 3 hours. No phones, no browsing, no internet, no interruptions. Just you and your thing. So glad to hear there's 3 people out there today. Oh, just got a like. Thank you very much. And so yeah, grab yourself a pad or paper, computer for editing if you're editing, but no browsing or shopping, no email, and do your thing, right? Get creative. Oh my God, there's 4 people here. It's unbelievable. Okay. So yeah, get yourself together. If you have any kids and they like doing artwork, let them know every day, 3 till 6. We're here this week. Might change the hours again for next week. But hey, hello, Nix Luna. How are you doing? Thanks for coming. I don't know if I know you. But anyway, thanks for coming. So yeah, get your stuff together. And oh, it's Krista. Hey, glad you're here. Get busy, yo. Well, we jumped up to 4 and then we went back down to 2. It's okay. How are you doing, Kristen? Did you just get off work? What's going on? Anyway, let us know. Ah, okay. All right, looks like we got 3 people watching. Hello, 3 people. Aye, aye. Everything's sliding around today. Well, we got 3 people. If you're new here and you haven't commented, please do say hi. I'll be happy to say hi back. Yeah, hey Nance. All right, we finished our first half hour, and we are 30 minutes away from our first break. Let's try different. Yeah, me too. Hi, Khaleesi. Music? Okay. Yeah, Khaleesi's really great at the brushwork. She's got mad skills. Bye. Yeah, yeah, we'll be painting later on after this. Yeah. Okay, let's keep on going. Uh, Rough outline of an upcoming project, doing a list of preliminary sketches for a series of ink drawings. Cool. Yeah, for me right now, things are going a little bit slower than I expected. You know, it's always funny because you have an idea of how things are going to go, and then they don't go that way. And it's not something that you can see from what I'm doing, but internally, I'm like, this should be going faster, but just the way the ink is going on the page. Sometimes the pages have some rough spots, so you just have to modify your expectations internally. Externally, it doesn't look like anything's happening, but internally, like a battle is raging against reality versus expectations. It's quite hilarious. Yeah, you guys keep it going. Oh, that's cool, Kristen. Well, you know, the first thing they say is you got to know yourself. And so when something starts happening, you have a response. Yeah, Kristen's thing sounds very cool. Excuse me. Uh, uh, a guy I know in France today, he messaged me. He's trying to start a record label. He already works for another record label, and he's trying to start his own. And well, he's not trying; he is, and he's sharing what he's doing and his progress and that kind of stuff. And like nobody sees what he's doing. It's like 6 to 8 months of work that nobody gets to see, that he doesn't know what's going to happen, and then he just, introduces his label to the world, and he just crosses his fingers that people are going to take interest, right? So we do our thing sitting here, and we can see it, and people can comment on it. But poor guys like that, they're spending like the better part of a year preparing for a label or even a simple record release. Just making the product takes a ridiculous amount of time. If you're a small independent label, that's the people that I work with are very small independent labels. Oh, okay. So we're just 4 minutes away from our first break. Yeah, well, that's the thing about being creative, is that if you have a lot of work, at least you know what you're doing. At least you have something to look forward to, right? All my favorite and best projects take way longer and the pay is so low. But they are the most satisfying and beautiful, so how do I get paid? It's a question I grapple with right now. Just grateful to have all I need, have lots of time to live in a beautiful place, finding new ways to connect and grow, and maybe turn the music up. Yeah, it's pretty kind of quiet. Is that better? Should I try a different kind of music, something more rhythmic? Oh, all right. I'll put the music back up in a little bit. It's just after 4 o'clock, so let's take a couple of minutes break. I'm just going to sit down and have a snack, a little bit of a snack, and then we'll come right back. I got some mail to check and stuff like that, so we'll be right back in just like 4 minutes. So take a break, go get some tea or whatever it is that you like. Yeah, so 4 minutes. Okay, guys, 4 minutes. All right, that's a quick short break. Let's get back to work. Yeah, okay. Let me know if the music's okay. So Karen, if you've got issues with cash and what to charge and whatnot, definitely reach out to other artists and just ask. But in my opinion, I think that you should just so much of what an artist gets is based on perception. So there's a sort of like artifice around the selling of art, and what I think that you want to do is the advice that I got was find a method of presentation that other advertisers are doing. Could be in any field, it doesn't matter. And if you like a certain kind of presentation, find a way to get that done for yourself. So I will be working with Bjorn's wife, assuming our agreement is still in place. I don't know, COVID is, making everything unusual. So Bjorn's wife will be shooting images for me, and or ex-wife, sorry, ex-wife, and it's not cheap, right? It's expensive. It costs money, but I'm getting images that I want to look like they're very natural and just minimalistic and plain. But the lighting has to be perfect, and all of the processing on the images has to be, professional. So I'm, farming out the presentation of my work to a photographer, and I'm relying on her skill set to do the presentation for me. Does that make sense? So I'm just an artist. I don't have every skill necessary to bring my work to market. I could just clean up this room and clean up this wall and take shots of it. And I guess it would probably be passable. And who knows? I mean, maybe that's all that's necessary. But this is a big project for me. I've been working on it for a long time. And so I'm just going to spend the money on it. And even still, as much confidence as I have in Nancy taking the photos, like we haven't even talked how much history she has in shooting artwork, and shooting artwork is extremely challenging. It's a very difficult skill to have the experience, to acquire the experience for, to be quite good at. So, there's a bit of risk involved, I feel like, for me. But she feels very confident about it. So, I might ask her before we finally, close the agreement, sign on the dotted line, because I want to make sure that I'm really happy and I don't want to be biting my fingernails. I don't know. I hope that makes sense to you. If you want to do it on the cheap, just use Instagram. You don't need your own website. Buy some lights. Risk is what makes life interesting. Yeah, that's true. However, it's a financial risk. And I am taking it. That's right, Celix. So I totally agree. I couldn't agree more. And my friend Nancy, the photographer, is a friend. So the way I look at it is, she's cutting me a deal, and I'm handing my baby over to her. So you're right. It is a risk, and that's right. It's interesting, and so the interest to me is, no risk, no reward. Yeah, you cannot account for every single data point in any calculation, because there's an infinite number of data points in any decision. So eventually you have to settle on something. So there's always an element of risk involved. And once you accept that, anxiety just goes away. So I don't feel any anxiety about it. I'm just excited about it. So as an artist, you can't be artist, presenter, you might want to find an agent. And your agent will probably have a Rolodex of photographers. And it can get complicated, right? Like depending upon what kind of art it is that's trying to be shot. And how do you want the images to be presented? Full color, black and white, some kind of filter. And these are things that you will discuss with either an agent or the photographer or the person that you're working with. So once you sort of start thinking in those terms, there's less of a burden in terms of your bubble expands and becomes bigger. And the sort of circle of your project increases to include other people. And that all depends on your personal resources, right? So, and it depends on the kind of risk you want to take. So if you don't have the resources to do the work yourself, maybe you turn to a family, a member, or a friend, and you say, hey, I'm very serious about this art that I'm doing. This is kind of like a life pivot. I'm making a investment in myself, and I'd like you to invest in me as well. So yeah. So just be comfortable with the idea of working with other people, and be comfortable with you can't think using your feelings. You have to think using facts. And if you're uncomfortable about asking somebody why, if you need to borrow money for this, I mean, that's a super legit sensation that you're going to have. So before making a decision based on your feelings, you have to ask yourself where those feelings are coming from. And if you're okay personally with taking the risk, and that depends on your conviction, right? Because if your willingness to take a risk is based on the conviction of rolling the dice, that conviction means Well, the outcome is not as relevant to me as the process of being as authentic as I can. And it's a difficult process to navigate if being authentic, and this might sound sort of weird, but being that pure about what it is that you want to do, some people are just, they have a lot of emotional response to that. And you got to work through it, right? That's why we do art. For a lot of people, anyway. I don't know. Anyway, I'm just kind of like running up my mouth. So hopefully some of it sticks and applies. I don't know. But Celix 20, 30, 46, yeah. You know, the risks are where the most interesting things are, right? And it's where the action is. That's right, yeah. Cheers, Celix. Yeah, you want to get your stuff out there. Oh, I turned the music off. Well, you know, I want to add to that, though, that, like, you can reduce the risk of the risk that you're taking, right? So, Nancy is someone, you know, Nancy the photographer is someone whose work I've seen. And I know what her history is as a photographer. So, like, so yesterday was Nancy and my wedding anniversary. So here's another, here's the counter. Like, I have a lot of confidence in Nancy, right? So for our wedding, we hired a photographer that we knew. And they were lacking in experience for the setting in which a lot of the photography had to take place. And so because of that absence of experience, the whole situation was compromised. Like, right from the get-go, it was compromised. Some shots were fantastic and really outstanding, but they made promises that they certainly did not keep. They said that they would be able to do things that they didn't. They said that they were going to provide a service that they didn't provide. So that experience was like, I went in there trusting and not having a background on what their work was like. And I don't have any regrets because it's ancient history, so I'm not going to worry about it. But with this venture, I'm like, okay, you know, no risk, no reward, true. But are you just going to, like, would I hire those guys again to do a similar event? No way, right? There's just no way. So, you know, reduce the risk of the risk that you're taking, because you want to feel like you have some kind of, you can't proceed without a sense of confidence, right? Because the element of risk outweighing confidence undermines the whole process. So if the risk is greater than the confidence you have in the process, then you're in danger, right? So you don't want that. So there's always an element of risk in everything that you do, because of the fact that there's an infinite number of data points that you can try to collect on any one decision. So eventually you have to stop. But that doesn't mean don't collect any. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. And for our wedding, we didn't collect any, and that's why it went the way it did. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. No, it's you gotta communicate, right? No, I go on to, like, I'm on so many artists' Facebook pages or Facebook pages for artists. And as soon as I see something that's interesting, I like directly comment to the artist, first compliment always, because you want to start out by letting them know why you're asking questions, because you really admire their work. And then you get into the details. So I'm like, what is this? What material is it? Can you give me because everybody has cell phones, right? So I'm like, can you give me a close-up on X, Y, or Z? And so often they do, right? So I have a hobby. I make models as well. And so a big thing in model making is like aging them down, like trying to make them look old. And I don't have a clue. So these guys are showing me all the techniques and materials and stuff like that. Most artists, they just love talking about their work because it's this positivity and enthusiasm and yeah, it just grows. It just increases, right? So on Facebook, I run a website where it's all labels and artists and fans talking to each other. And I interview, I do so many interviews, it's ridiculous. And this one guy, he's a producer, and he had created this kind of his own genre of music. And he was starting to get depressed because he wasn't getting a lot of feedback, right, from people. And he was like, well, there's other genres, they're so popular. And so the guy who kind of works for me and with me on the website, he interviewed him and he reviewed his album. So we published an album review and an interview. And we introduced him to my site and all of the people on my site. We're like, these people are going to be crazy about this. And he, within 48 hours, what was so excited. He just because we talked to him, he realized that there were people that cared, that people that liked it, that people wanted to talk to him about it. And within, I think, 48 hours of us publishing his review, he put out another album that he was just sitting on because he didn't think people were really crazy about what he was doing. And then we put out his interview and we shined a light. And, now he sent us a private message saying, thank you so much. I didn't think anybody cared. And now I know that people do. Right? So all of that comes from just saying, hey, man, that's great. This is really good what you're doing. We happen to have a platform where we can provide him with a lot of attention. So because we are kind, we do, right? So that's kind of like why I made this stream. I don't know if it's going to work or not, right? But if it does, if you have like a photographer in here and a painter in here and you're tweeting out their stuff, one call from the right person can completely change your life. And I don't mean just in the way of the artist I was just talking about. Like, you could become a legit, not legit. Everybody's legit. Everything is legit. Wrong word. But you could, turn it into a well-financed lifestyle, right? But without the seeds of communication, you're just on your own. So you got to get out of that habit and you got to start communicating. Whoops. So that's why I started doing this. But I don't know if it's going to work out. I mean, it's just an experiment. A hermit with Wi-Fi, though, right? Yeah, I think I don't know. I don't know if this shows up on. Does this live chat show up on the streams? I have no idea. Honestly, I think the pandemic and the internet is an introvert's dream and time to shine. Have been doing so many great things online. Yeah, I am compelled to agree with you. Sure, if I didn't have to go to work, I'd be more than happy to not see anyone more than once a week or every other week. Just need my cats, art supplies, and some trees and a simple life. So need that time to sort my thoughts out and feel comfortable in the world again. Why is everyone always so busy and social and up and at 'em all the time? Yeah, yeah, it's a good question. There was this guy who quit society in, I think it was like northwestern United States. He just kind of, I think he had a crappy family or something, I can't remember. And he just went to go live in the woods. And people got to know him because, unfortunately, he would break into their homes and like steal food, basically. He wouldn't like bust up the place or anything. He would watch the home for a long time, and when their family was gone, you know, he would try to find the least destructive way to get in the house. But anyway, I bring it up because he didn't see anyone for like 12 years or something, like 14 years. Like, I'm sure he probably saw a figure like off in the distance, but he never got close enough to see, you know, to get a good look at anybody because he didn't want anyone to get a good look at him. And finally he got caught. So he said that after he got caught, the hardest thing was looking at all the faces. He said because when you live on your own in the woods and then you finally see somebody's face, there's so much emotion and life and character like carved and into the shape of the face that he could barely even stand to look at it because he just gets such an intense, overwhelming input of information from just looking at someone that he can barely even handle it. Which is quite a contrast from like people constantly going out and doing things and running around and just filling their lives with so much activity and people. It's a shocking contrast. You know, two extremes. Yeah. Well, you know, Western society doesn't even really give people a chance to understand what they are. And so, of course, this barrage of trivialities come up. And as they try to juggle inane details of an artificial existence that has nothing to do with what it is that people actually are. Hey Marcel, when I spent a year in the woods with Brune, it was very weird coming back and dealing with how fast everything was. It was like being in shock. Yeah, I had a similar experience. Nothing like a year though, but I used to go fruit picking. But in my early 20s, I used to hitchhike from Toronto to Vancouver and Vancouver to Toronto every year. And a lot of the time I was just by myself. And yeah, it was weird. You finally roll up into a city and you're just like, God damn, or sorry, man, this place is busy. you know, it gets a bit crazy. And it creates a lot of distractions. So you don't get to be as creative as much as you want to be, which is why we have this show. Yeah, cool. What about Facebook? I use Facebook for. So yeah, I don't really spend much time on Facebook. It's overwhelming, and a lot of things are just not things I want to see. I stay there though to stay connected with people. Yeah, I think Facebook can with when Facebook is just sitting there and inviting you to like communicate. Just say, hey, say whatever you want to say, right? It's the public square, freedom of speech. You feel like compelled to oblige. And so there's this like opportunity to say something and you feel like you want to say something. For myself, I only use Facebook for like you said, keeping in touch with people. I use it for Dream Punk Record Club. That's my hub for labels, artists, and fans. It's very active. It has really. I've been very lucky. It's had a huge impact on this scene, and so I use it for that. And that is actually a project I started with. That's going to evolve into. Or is giving me the tools to help Nancy start her business. So I'm learning how to use social media and not actively instead of passively. So instead of just looking at Facebook and seeing how it's an opportunity to use my voice to just say whatever, and usually people just are like, getting triggered, especially in 2020, right? It's like there's so many just endless opportunities to like say what the heck. So yeah, a lot of people I talk to that are on Facebook don't like using it, but because of the focus that I put, like for example with the Dream Punk Record Club, there's no politics. It's for everyone. It's like super hyper, like share your stuff, get your stuff out there. Let's I could almost become an agent for these people if that was something that I wanted to do. Like if movies weren't totally in the toilet, it's crossed my mind to like try to represent these people on a higher level, because right now it's just this sort of, internet genre, but it's extremely active, and I think that it could be kicked up a notch, and their stuff could be featured on like shows, TV shows, and streaming shows, and that kind of stuff. And all of that is just because of Facebook. So, and like I mentioned to you guys earlier, like lots of interviews and reviews and communicating with artists and changing their whole outlook on life, you know? So I don't use Facebook passively. I have a very specific purpose for why I use Facebook. And I would like to get off of it if I can. But to the extent that it's able to help Nancy start her business or me help other people, I will continue to use it. Anyway, welcome to my TED Talk. Yeah, as despicable as Facebook can be, it can also be used for a force of good, which is how I try to use it. One day, me and George Lucas. Oh, 4 more minutes, then we take a break. Getting coffee. Ha, Mandalorian. There's lots of rumors about the Mandalorian. Yeah, I'm excited about the Mandalorian. All right, you guys go. I'm gonna take a break in 3 minutes. All right, it is just about there. It's 5 o'clock. 3 minute break. I have to get a little sign for breaks. So, let's say 4 minutes. All right. Okay, guys, we are on our last hour of Monday, our 3-hour online creativity club. This is our second week, and this project is a creative experiment that is going to last 3 months. So it's going to take us into December. And at that time, we will decide whether we're going to continue it or not. If you like this sort of thing, please like and subscribe, and definitely share. So if you're on any Facebook groups, or I don't know, there's so many social platforms now, I don't know them all. If you're on any other social platforms, please share the stream, tell them what it's about, so there's no surprise when they get here. They're like, what, this guy's just drawing. So yeah, it's for all of us to work together and just chat, and you know, no phones, no computers, no interruptions, no email, just 100% being creative with people, especially during COVID. You could be by yourself, and that's hard to be motivated when you're on your own. So this is a sort of art gym, right? We're all each other's trainers, all right? So anyway, let's get back to work. We're on our last hour. We have 54 minutes, and then we're done for the day. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Tuesday. Change the music. Here we go.
Pull up a chair. It's time to get connected, get inspired, and get educated.
I hope your dog is all right, Karen. Thanks to all the 4 people that are watching. Like and subscribe. Tell all your friends. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you can use Facebook actively and proactively and mindfully, for sure. But it's easier when, for me, when I know where I want to put my enthusiasm and then I just create a space on Facebook for that. That's exactly what this is. So if there's 4,000 people here, it doesn't make a difference, really. That doesn't mean I'm going to do it forever if it stays at 4. But my feelings about it won't change. Yeah, yeah. So it says you get what you've been discovering that if you follow your real interests, there is just so much to find. And you've been really enjoying actually doing that lately. Yeah, for sure. There's tons to say about that. There's a process to living which is, just tied up in what we are as extensions of the world around us. We are products of our environment. And I don't mean our cultural environment or the city in which we live, but the planet. And every single part of what we do can be called natural, but it's not always in our nature or natural to us as individuals, the things that we do. So there's a place where only your nature can be heard and thus expressed. And the deeper into sort of social rules and rational constructs we are wrapped up in, the quieter that voice is, and so the more challenging it is to express it, and the less comfortable we feel in our own bodies. So yeah, once you discover your real interests, those interests are not in conflict with what's going on in the world, because when you practice those interests, you change the world. And that's the only way to really change anything, is by being true to yourself, because you're not in conflict and you're in flow. And when you're in flow, to use that expression, which I'm not a big fan of, but it's popular, people, if you can communicate that, then people understand it, because they resonate, their own flow recognizes it, if that makes any sense. And that's how the world is changed. But it's challenging to feel it because of all of the layers of pressures and anxieties that our world has created and puts on us. And the way our world runs, in terms of it being a very corporate, interest-directed world, our creativity and spontaneity is suppressed. So that's why people are like, well, how are we going to get out of this? Because the whole way to get out of this is constantly being suppressed. So you kind of got to kick that ideology to the curb and get into yourself. And whatever your creative spontaneity is, just let it come on out. And eventually people will recognize it for what it is. I don't like the word flow. So Karen asks, why don't you like the flow? That expression has always bugged me too. We got half an hour left, and then we're done for the day. The expression flow is, there's two reasons I think why I don't like it. But first I would say why I do. The reason why I do like it is because it's inspirational. When people hear about artists being, it's usually used with musicians. When artists and musicians are talked about in interviews as being in the flow. So if they do like a recording session, you know, a marathon recording session, or they're just banging out the hits, you know, it's referred to as the flow. And you know, when you're in the flow, so it's very inspirational. When you hear about that, it's like a kind of it has a gravitational pull on your ambition to achieve that. And so I think that that's a really good, that's a really positive element to that expression, is that it's aspirational. It drives people to like want to discover what that could possibly be like. And so that's great. I mean, you wouldn't want to take that away from anybody. And whatever works for anyone to be positive and aspire to something and maybe their own personal greatness, then that's what you want. But the reasons why I don't like it, I think, there are two of them. The first one is that it seems to be exclusively applied to creative people, and not everyone is creative. So let's just, in that sense, like, as I said earlier, that it applies most frequently to artists and most frequently to musicians. So if I'm not an artist or a musician, then it's exclusive, and I'm not included. And so as an individual, I can't relate to what that means, or I have less of an opportunity to relate to what that means. But another reason why I don't like it is because flow is inadequate in describing that there is the full experiential spectrum that we feel like we're on the right track and we're not on the right track. So, you know, if people say in a slang way, like I was just flowing and just grooving, then everybody can relate to that. You could be walking, you could be skateboarding, you could be just shopping. Everybody can relate to that in that slang kind of way. And that slang kind of way of talking about flow. So flow seems kind of like hyper-specific and exclusive to creators, which is why I don't like it. You know, when people are just like, yeah, man, catch my flow, or I was flowing and grooving, that kind of opens it up more. And artistic expression, well, how can I explain this? It's very difficult for me to explain it, but life, everything has a flow. Obviously, rivers flow. The way a tree grows has a flow. How we feel about what we're doing at every moment has an element of this kind of flow that they are talking about. And you're either flowing or you're not flowing. And again, now I'm using this word and I feel like I'm stuck using it. But in some Eastern Taoism and Zen, there are elements of this concept flow talked about in other ways that include everything. And they talk about it in such a way that you are connected to everything. And the rhythm of life has a kind of flow to it that you can see in nature, and your whole, just kind of like, I'm failing miserably at explaining this, but the term flow is very exclusive and used in a creative way, and it applies to like hyper genius creators, and I find that just too exclusive. So that way of the use, that way that I have seen flow used, and maybe it's used in other ways, does not appeal to me for those reasons. I think it's too limited in its scope, and it applies too narrowly to too few. And I would prefer a type of vocabulary that is broader in scope and is far more inclusive. So in and of itself, the word flow I don't have a problem with. But how it's typically used, I do. And I'll just stop there because I want to unpack it more, but I'm not prepared to do that right now. Because I don't know how I'm not in the frame of mind to reason it out. So I hope that's a fair stab at it. Maybe that makes some sense. It's too exclusive. I don't know. What do you think? Why is it that you think you don't like it, Karen? That expression, the flow. Yeah. Well, I tried. So the concept of, yeah, we can talk about this some more, maybe tomorrow. Anyway, but yeah, what do you got to say about it? I always think of flow as something that has to have a tone, for me, I always think of flow as something that has to have a tone of rest. Cyclical, like inspiration, action, reflection, pause, back to inspiration, action. Oh, time of rest. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. And that's how it connects with nature, right? What you're talking about is a natural cycle. Exactly what you're talking about is a natural cycle. And that's where I want to go with it. But right now, I just don't have the, so for example, sometimes Khaleesi with her friends, they are 8 and 9 years old, or maybe 8 and 10, I can't remember. And her friend will come on to her after to starting a new class, and she'll say, oh, I found some great new friends in my class. They're so wonderful. I can't believe how amazing these people are. And so I said to Khaleesi, so I overheard you talking, and you said, oh yeah, well, I have really good friends in my class too. And so this one-upmanship kind of starts, and I asked her, you know, how did you feel when you responded that way? Did you feel good, or did you feel bad? And she says, well, I felt kind of bad about it. And I said, why did you feel bad about it? And she says, well, I'm kind of competing with her. And I said to her, to use this flow word, you're out of flow. Now you're struggling. Now you're going against what is most natural for you to do. You're taking what you think is the best way for you, but you're not following your own natural best course of action. So that doesn't mean you did the wrong thing. It just means that there is a better way to respond that doesn't put you out of flow or make you feel bad. So the better way to respond, I advised, was to say, oh, you're making a lot of great friends? That's fantastic. And so it shows that you have a lot of confidence in yourself and that you're genuinely happy for them. And there is no conflict. So the idea of quote unquote being in flow isn't just creative in terms of producing art or music. Being in flow is not a productive quality. It doesn't have to be. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. Being in flow means that you're reducing the turbulence in your own like nervous system, psychology, emotional self. You're going in the path of least resistance, right? And that's how artists are productive, is that they're in flow, is they're following the path of least resistance, is that they're being productive because they've eliminated all paths of resistance, right? And so being in flow doesn't just mean that you're being creative or a musician. Being in flow goes back to what you started this conversation about, which is that you're being true to your innermost nature and you're expressing that in an authentic, accurate manner. Does that make sense? So being in flow is like not brushing your hair up because your hair doesn't naturally brush up. Your hair naturally goes down. And so it's smooth and the brush goes through it and it's easy and there are no problems, right? Being in flow is not like when you find a knot and just like pulling the brush through your hair. It's now this tool, if you rely on it, you're out of flow. So you have to put the tool down and very gently use a different method, right? So it's not just about being creative, and it's not just about being a super creative musical genius. It's about what you just said. And that's why I don't like it, because of how it's used, not what it means. And I guess how you use it depends on what you think that it means. So right now, I don't feel so bad about the word flow anymore. Yeah, I'm trying to help. I don't know. All right, we got 15 minutes left, people. There's 3 of us here. Anyway. What are we going to do? We'll come back tomorrow, right? So 15 minutes left. Thanks, Karen. It's all, can't give good answers unless you have good questions. Yeah, 15 minutes. Yeah. So Kristen writes, a word I hear used a lot is art block. To me, it's always used in negative context where I think it reflects a downtime to process things and figure out your next inspiration so we don't get burned out. Your thoughts? Yeah. Yeah, so artist's block is a very common term that that people throw around a lot. And yeah, it's it goes back to what Karen was saying about sort of the cyclic nature of creativity. I mean, literally, it happens outside every day. Sun goes up, sun goes down, sun goes up, sun goes down, sun goes up, sun goes down. Seasons, trees, right? I was talking to Khaleesi about I forget what the topic was. Maybe it was like, I don't know, judging people or something. I can't remember. And I said, oh, yeah, I think we were just talking about aesthetics and what we consider beautiful and what isn't beautiful. And I said, when we were driving to school, there's all these trees where we live. There's tons of trees. I'm like, look around. What do you think of these trees, right? They're all gray and black and dark, and it's raining, and they have no leaves, and everything looks miserable. And I said, what's the tree thinking, though? The tree is like, hey, man, don't judge me, yo. This is just winter, right? It's like, this is what I do. You catch me in like 5-6 months, and you're going to be like, think about me in a totally different way. Poor tree. Like, take it easy on the tree. So, yeah, if people, well, not if people, right? But by understanding that we are a product of the world and that everything is cyclical, then, as you said, Kristen, the artist's block just is like a tree in winter, that's all. And it's not even bad, because that tree in winter is going to be there for you in the summertime. So the way I put it to Khaleesi, she's, of course, likes to spend time with all of her friends. And so she does a sleepover and she comes home and she's flying high and doing great. And I'm like, remember, your friends are like the sun, right? And you get to spend time with them. And then the sun goes down and then you don't spend time with them. But when the sun is up, it's great. And you're having a good time. But what if the sun never went down? You would be roasted and you'd be fried and you would, you would get burnt. So the joy of our friendship is that, part of it anyway, is that we have them, and then we don't see them, and then we see them again, and then we don't see them, and so the not seeing them part makes seeing them so much more exciting. So when you don't have something that you want, just imagine that it's nighttime, and that eventually the sun will come around and you're going to get exactly what it is that you want. But just remember that eventually the sun is going to go down. So, or the water in the river is going to go up, water in the river is going to go down. Fish are going to be in the river, fish are not going to be in the river. Just like that. Yeah, so those are my thoughts on artist block. I don't know if you can relate to that, but it sounds like you can, because that's what you basically said, the same thing. So you and Karen are really, you're talking about understanding the cycle and the process of just being yourself, which is intrinsically part of nature. So you don't even have to worry about, like, the more you align yourself with, like, what's happening in the environment around you, like literally the world, our natural environment, everything just kind of becomes easier to understand, so that even, I put it, this is how I teach Khaleesi things. Anyway, yeah, I'm glad you agree that it makes sense. Makes sense to me too. Makes sense to Khaleesi. Six minutes, guys, girls, people, everyone. The thing I like about nature the most, in relationship to what we're talking about today, is that, like, the rain isn't trying to rain, and it's not rushing to finish, and it doesn't know how much it's going to rain, and it's not even really involved in why it's there. So it just happens. There's no way of projecting a consequence on the actions of something that's like rain. And it helps me focus, not even focus, it just helps me, actually the opposite of focus, which is just relax. When you focus, like, you can feel the muscles kind of tighten up. It's just stuff is just happening, and you don't need to worry about 5 minutes from now or tomorrow or next week. That wouldn't make a difference anyway. If you did, it wouldn't change anything. Like, you're not going to be worrying about stuff, doesn't change it. So it presents an opportunity for you just to be where you are right now, and constantly reminding yourself to just be where you are and relax and do what there's some things that you need to do, but shopping and getting food and stuff like that. But like I said, with Khaleesi and her friends, like, you don't need to get caught up in competing with anyone else, or even yourself. What's that going to do? Anyway, 3 minutes. All right, guys, last minute. Yeah, it's very nice to chat with you guys. I did more talking today than I usually do. So sorry if I was a bother. All right, it's 6 o'clock. So thanks everybody on the stream for coming and hanging out. I'm gonna try and find ways to get more people in here, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Much love to you guys, and thank you for saying that. Opposite of a bother. So, okay, let's wrap it up. So thanks for hanging out. Really appreciate it. This is Bliss Monkey's Online Creativity Club. So we are here again all this week from 3 until 6 p.m. Pacific time. This is week number 2 in a 3-month online art project. So if you know anyone that might be interested, please share the link. It's on my Facebook page, and you can just find it on YouTube and maybe share it with a friend or a group of artists that you know online on some social platform. All right, we are done. Thank you guys, especially Karen and Kristen, and of course Nancy, and Khaleesi was on the show today too. All right, much love to you guys. Stay safe, and I will see you tomorrow. Cheers for now.